Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Any of you who watched the collab video that I did the other day with my friend Chloe, I hope you enjoyed that one. I really liked the way that video turned out, actually. It was a new idea, I've never collabed on this channel before, but yeah, I loved the way that it came out. It was awesome. But anyways, I did say in that video that again, I've changed my list of least favourite to most favourite signs in my opinion. And I know this is now the third time that I've used this idea for a video, but the reason is that, as I said in those videos too, my opinion on the signs change very often. And yeah, they've changed again. They actually changed 4 times, but the third time I didn't actually bother to record the change on a video. But this time I decided that I'll bring out my most recent change to the list because it's quite significant this time. A lot of signs have moved down or up quite a few places, so thought I would record it today. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys don't mind that it's obviously a video idea that's been used so many times already in this channel, but it's because it keeps changing that I thought I would update you lot. For any of you who, like, for whatever reason want to know my personal opinion on the signs, I thought I'd just update you all. So yeah, anyway, they're not going to like this, but my new least favourite sign, number 12 on the list, Leo, I'm sorry, it's you. I used to have you as 2 on my list, but in my most recent version, my last version I put Capricorn as my least favourite sign, but now with this change again, Leo is now my least favourite sign. The reason is that the more that I have Leos around me, because when I ranked them really high in the past, it was really because I didn't have much experience personally with Leos. So I was going on kind of other people's accounts or what it says online or whatever, and they sounded fun and compatible. But now that I know more of them in my life, I'm sort of starting to agree with the websites that say it's a really bad match. My sun is Pisces, I've got a Capricorn moon, Cancer rising. Websites always used to tell me that Leo is one of my worst matches, especially with a Capricorn moon, but I didn't believe them. But now I do. Because, yeah, I'm just sort of seeing all of the negatives to the Leo sign now more than the positives, and they do sort of outweigh the positives. All the stereotypes of Leo being selfish, egotistical. Personally, sorry, Leos, don't get mad at me. Personally, I think they are quite true. It's like they are generous, selfless on one side of them, and warm-hearted. But say you're having a bad day and you don't treat them top dog first and give them royal special treatment, they won't do it to you, and they'll even throw a tantrum about it. It's like they'll treat you well, but first they need you to treat them well first. And basically, say you're down on a certain day or you've had a bad day and you don't want to treat them well first, you just want them to support you out of, kindness. If you haven't told them how good they are first, they don't want to tell you how good you are in order to lift your spirits or anything like that. They're quite self-obsessed, so they want to hear it from you first how good they are. They're not as confident as they seem deep down either, I don't think. They can actually be quite insecure, so they kind of need that validation to feel secure and keep up their, self-esteem. And when you don't give it to them, they feel sensitive, they feel hurt, so then they don't want to make you feel happy, so they'll just leave you to sort yourself out. They won't give you any emotional support. Of course, this is a generalization, not every Leo's like this, so don't attack me in the comments, Leo, but it's like, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. And recently I have also been done dirty by a Leo, so yes, I don't like Leo anymore. They're quite lazy for a fire sign too. They're pretty tired all the time, like male lions in the wild, actually, very similar. And yeah, when the moon is transiting Leo, I struggle to get like 8 out of 10 as an energy score. I'm usually quite tired with the Leo moon, which is weird because my Mars is actually in Aries. So you'd think they'd be fairly compatible, but no. And I think it's just that Leo, they want to be treated like royalty, so they won't work hard for what they want. They'll expect other people to work hard to give them what they want, and then they'll just get the reward. And then they'll show off and make out that they did all the hard work, when really they didn't. They did nothing, and someone else did it for them. Anyway, moving on. So Virgo consistently has been my least favourite sign, but on this newest list they're at 11, so obviously they have improved a little bit, they've gone from 12 to 11, but still, I still stand by my reasoning as to why I don't like Virgo still. I'm definitely not their biggest fan still, obviously. They are my opposite sign as a Pisces, Sun and Mercury. But yeah, they are very critical. They're worse to themselves with the critique than they are to others. I will give them credit for that, as I always do. But they still sort of think they can tell other people how to live their life, which I don't like. They're quite boring. I've been done dirty by a Virgo in the past. I got fired by one. Yeah, they're quite boring. They're very serious. And they're the mutable earth sign, so they're very adaptable, but they don't really use it because they're actually quite set in their ways, in my opinion. Like, if you meddle with the structure, the order that Virgos want to live their life by, for no valid or good reason, they will be cagey, they'll be irritated at you, they don't like it. Also, they're not very warm-hearted. That's something that you can't say about Leo, but you can say about Virgo. Mercury, it's a logical, intellectual planet primarily. There is not much room for emotion. They're not very supportive emotionally. They can support you on a practical level, but definitely not on an emotional level. That's where their opposite Pisces comes in, more so, I'd say. But yeah, that's kind of Virgo. I don't want this video to be as long because I know I waffle quite a lot, and these videos in the past have been way too long. So I'm going to try and explain, keep my explanations more clear, concise, short and simple, if you like. So yeah, so I'll move on already. Hopefully it still makes sense to you guys, those valid reasons. So, Capricorn was temporarily my least favourite sign, even though it's actually my moon sign. But in my newest list that I'm at now, Capricorn is at 10. So, Capricorn, they're not quite as fussy as Virgo, but they come close. They're not quite as judgmental as Virgo, but again, they come very close. The thing about them is that they're possibly even more boring than Virgo, and they're possibly definitely even more serious than Virgo. Now, unlike Leo and Virgo, I've never actually been done dirty in my life by a Capricorn, from what I can remember. But it's just, and I do, people with Capricorn moon, because my moon is also Capricorn, I feel like I do have a bit of an emotional understanding of other people that also have a Capricorn moon. Quite naturally, obviously, I guess you could say. Doesn't mean I get on with people with a Capricorn moon, I just kind of do have a bit of an emotional understanding of them. But Capricorn, they're very pessimistic. Emotionally, they're strong-willed, but they can also get depressed fairly easily as well. But they're quite emotionally closed off. They're a bit cold-hearted. They are probably even less warm-hearted than Virgo. They're not even as nice as Virgo. Capricorn can be quite nasty because they're very emotionally detached, which I really don't like. They are hard working though, I admire that about them, but everything else, yeah, I don't really like them for anything else. They're ruled by Saturn, which is not a very nice planet in astrology, so that kind of does transfer, unfortunately, to their character traits as well. So, next up is actually, 9, is actually Scorpio. And, okay, so I'm a Cancer rising with a Pisces Sun, Pisces Mercury, Capricorn Moon. So you would think with all those placements that I would actually be highly compatible and work really well with Scorpio, which technically astrology says that I should be with those planet placements. But one, my Venus is in Aquarius, which I'll lead on to being very incompatible with Scorpio and my Mars Aries, but Scorpio, I do not like how possessive they are, how jealous they get easily in relationships. They sort of want to own people like as if they were objects. But it's not clingy, but with the best of intentions, like Cancer, for example. It's more so clingy with bad intentions as well. I hate to say it, Scorpio. You're clingy because you want to be obsessive and own people. And also sort of like Leo, make them over in your own image, which I do not like. My Venus is Aquarius, where Pluto's fallen, so I don't like mind games, I don't like manipulation. So even though I can sometimes be a bit guilty of that, I don't like it in other people, and I don't like it in myself when I start acting that way to others. And I like to try and nip it in the bud very quickly and apologise if I do that to others accidentally or deliberately, but I try not to anymore. But yeah, they're manipulative, they're possessive. Like their opposite Taurus, they do sort of want to own people like objects, which I do not appreciate. And that's the main thing. Also, I've got a lot of water in my chart. It's a very intense emotional element. But Scorpio is just even more intense than necessary. Like, Pisces and Cancer don't have the same almost nasty approach to the intensity of the emotion. Like, water is emotion primarily as an element. But that doesn't mean you need to act like a Scorpio does. It's just that it's too over the top. Obviously, ruled by Mars and Pluto, Pluto wants to control people, and then Mars is aggressive. So, yeah, that's all I can say about Scorpio. They are very clingy, they're very possessive, obsessive of people, and they're also secretive. So they kind of expect you to tell them everything about your life, but then they'll never give anything away about their own lives. Moving on. So, 8 on my list is Aquarius, and yeah, similar to my reasoning for Capricorn, is that they're cold hearted. I like their rebelliousness, as I say, my Venus is in Aquarius, so I like the Uranus side of them in a way, that it's shocking, groundbreaking, because it sort of rebels against society, and society would never progress if Aquarius energy wasn't around to sort of lead a strike or a social rebellion, if you like, if you get what I mean. That wouldn't happen if Aquarius wasn't there to force that to happen. Like Capricorn sort of represents tradition and Aquarius represents rejection of tradition and, you know, making new traditions, if you like, moving society forward and progress in civilization. So I do like that about them. My Venus is Aquarius, so I am attracted to Aquarius people, or people with strong personal planet placements in Aquarius. But again, they're very cold-hearted. They're very closed off and detached on an emotional level, which I don't like, because with a lot of my planets being water, I'm quite emotional, and I do need that and seek that out in other people. Aquarius does never ever satisfy my needs on an emotional level. They are not able to do that because they're opposite to Leo, and Leo looks very overly generous, overly warm-hearted. They're the opposite, so naturally they're very cold. They're just very abrasive in a way. They're stubborn because they're fixed. They don't listen to no one, but they try and come across like they're so open-minded and non-judgmental, which they are, but they don't adapt to your point of view. So they're open-minded and non-judgmental, and they do show that off, but they also don't adapt to other people's point of view either. So it's kind of a catch-22, a contradiction, if you like. Aquarius is fun, though. I will give them that. I've not really been done dirty by an Aquarius or a Scorpio, but yeah, that's just my standing on Aquarius. Next up, 7, Cancer. Now, you might think I would score them better than 7, but I did used to. But I personally don't like the clinginess of Cancer. I said if you watched the collab video the other day, my rising is Cancer, but I don't like that Cancer clinginess coming from other people and projected toward me, if you sort of get what I'm trying to say. It sort of limits your freedom, it's very sort of clingy, but they do it with good intentions, unlike the Scorpio. They don't want to control you, that's not the motivation behind their clinginess, it's more so because they want the best for you, but it limits your freedom. They sort of always treat you like babies, they treat you like they're your mum or dad, even though they might just be friends with you. They kind of tell you how to live your life a bit too much. And I think they're quite judgmental for a water sign too. They're very shy, it's hard to earn their trust. You can't easily see their generosity because they don't show it easily unless you really earn it. Because they're also shy and quite timid, so yeah, that's what I don't like about Cancer. Next up is Libra. Now, Libra, they're very much average for me. As I say, they're 6 on this new list, so they're literally right in the middle. I do appreciate Libra is very peace-loving, very arguments and conflicts. Very peace-loving, humanitarian, kind-hearted, similar to Pisces, which I do like, and I do sort of connect with Libra on. That sort of peace-loving, Venus love sort of mentality. I do connect with Taurus and Libra, the Venus ruled signs, in that sense, obviously being a Pisces too, and exalting Venus. So yeah, I understand them quite well, but they're cardinal air, so obviously they're a bit detached emotionally, they are very logical, they strengthen Saturn, so they're actually quite serious, and they're like Leo, they're actually a bit superficial, like they're not very deep as a personality, similar to Leo, but I'm not hating on Libra because honestly, most of their traits I do actually think are quite good, quite positive, but they can be a bit superficial. They sort of judge your personal appearance if you're, say, dating one, I'd imagine. They judge your success in your life in a similar way to Capricorn, and they're very serious about give and take dynamics in relationships, which is obviously fine and fair enough, but they're very serious, and honestly, they're not as fun as the other two air signs either. They're a little bit boring because they're so focused on peace and harmony that they don't have much of a sense of wanting to take risks in life. They can actually honestly be a little bit conservative, especially for an air sign. In a way, they're quite similar to Capricorn and Aquarius. Yeah, they're a bit conservative, but they don't have the Aquarius's Uranus, which sort of counteracts the Saturn and makes them quite adventurous still. Libra can honestly be a bit boring. They're also a little bit lazy. But I do, overall, everything else about them I do love. I do appreciate their fair-minded philosophy of life. I do appreciate how kind-hearted and compassionate they are. And they need to give themselves credit because I think they're all quite insecure, but they shouldn't be because they're a great sign. Aries is next. So obviously Aries is opposite to Libra. I also, with Libra, I do think that sometimes their lack of confrontation skills is actually quite bad. Like, obviously it stops arguments, so it keeps harmony, which is nice. But sometimes they can cause more beef, let's say, by not arguing directly. Because they do it in indirect, passive-aggressive sort of means, arguments and conflicts sometimes draw out for a longer time period because with Aries, they just say what they think straight away. They'll kick off and start an argument, but in a way it's good because the issues can be addressed quickly before they spiral out of control even further or they just never get addressed. With Libra, you don't easily know what you've done to piss them off, so you can't really address the root of the problem and solve it. So at least with Aries, their confrontational ability at least means that you know where you stand with them and you don't have unresolved conflicts, because with Aries, as soon as they're pissed off at you, they're going to tell you straight, which I actually appreciate. Having said that, they are a bit too aggressive and confrontational for my liking. They overdo the fire's aggressive side a little bit too much for my liking, but naturally, of course, they are ruled by Mars. I appreciate their energy. I appreciate their hard work and dedication. Although the thing with Aries, they're very energetic, but they don't have much staying power. That's something I will say. So whilst they have that Mars energy, when they first produce it, it's very fierce and it's very strong and energetic. But it doesn't have staying power. It doesn't have stamina. It burns out very quickly. My Mars is Aries, so I can speak on this firsthand somewhat. I can speak, as I say, firsthand on this somewhat because my Mars is Aries. It is a lot of energy and it bursts out of us really quickly and we're so enthusiastic and we'll do 100 new things, brave, adventurous, all that. But it doesn't last long. We do burn ourselves out quickly, lose interest in tasks quite quickly. So that's a downside. And yeah, their argumentativeness is also a downside, but in a way it's also good because unlike Libra, you know where you stand with them and there will never be any unresolved conflicts in a relationship with Aries. They're very selfish, self-centered, don't like that about them. Obviously that's opposite to Libra as well. But yeah, next up for Gemini. Sorry guys, I'm just drinking some coffee, that's why I'm stopping explaining at certain points. But yeah, so for Gemini, now, I used to not like them much, then I used to really love them, and I guess I do again now because they're four on my list, but yeah, the vast majority of my close friends are Gemini and Aries actually, but especially Gemini, so I can't ignore that for a start. That's a trend I've noticed in my personal life. Yeah, they can be a bit flighty, a bit fake, a bit two-faced. The stereotype is kind of true about that side of the Gemini. They're very talented though. They can do pretty much anything they set their minds to. They're very versatile people, very adaptable. They can be a bit two-faced. You don't always know where you stand with them. But overall, everything else about them is good. They're very fun as a sign. I can give them credit for that. I kind of sometimes like their detachment because it means that they're a bit more logical. So they can give you logical advice on problems rather than having their judgment be tainted by messy emotions. So I like that about them too. So 3 on my list is actually Sagittarius. I have always loved Sagittarius. I don't know what it is, but especially for a fire sign, there's always been something about Sagittarius that I've really just loved. However, I don't really like that they're flighty. They're a bit scared of commitment, similar to Gemini, their opposite. What I love the most about them is their optimism and how they can really bring you up when you're having a bad day. Not on a deep sort of emotional level like Gemini. They both can't do that. But Sagittarius, their optimism is very contagious and it sort of brings you up when you're having a bad day, which I love about them. I love their energy. They're very bubbly, they're very loud, which is annoying. You always know where you stand with them because they are very blunt. They'll tell you exactly what they think. If you piss them off, you're not going to be guessing if you have or not because they're going to tell you if you have. Not fake at all, which is nice. But they're a bit too honest because sometimes you need to tell white lies to save people's feelings and they just never ever do. Number 2 is Pisces, and Pisces has consistently been my favourite sign, but recently I've moved them down to 2 because they're just very flaky, flighty, unreliable, the same as Gemini in that sense. And I don't know why people give Gemini so much slack for being so flighty and fake, because it isn't just Gemini, because Pisces is just as bad as Gemini in that way. They're not reliable, even though they're emotional and they like relationships. They are also a bit scared of commitment, as are all the mutable signs. And they're not very reliable. They can ghost you sometimes randomly, which Gemini also does, but also Libra sometimes as well. But obviously they're still a beautiful sign. They're very friendly. They love everyone. So that's a good thing about them. And then my favourite on my new list is Taurus. Yeah, they're boring. Yeah, they can be lazy. But I love their stability. They're literally the rocks that anyone else can build on. They are very stable, very loyal, very reliable. They're emotional for an earth sign. They exalt the moon. But they're also very, very logical as well. They're kind of the perfect blend between logic and emotion. They move very slowly, which annoys my Mars and Aries. They don't like Uranus. They kill Uranus, which annoys my Venus and Aquarius. But other than that, I don't see anything bad about Taurus, apart from the fact that they are very, very stubborn, and they will not bend to your opinions if it differs from theirs. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.